India and China, two Asian giants with large navies. Now, the PLA Navy is the world's largest in terms of ships. It has over 350 warships, including 3 aircraft carriers and over 70 submarines. Now, the Indian Navy is smaller. It has around 150 warships and submarines. Both these navies seem to pursue entirely different worldviews. Now, India's Navy safeguards India's maritime frontiers and is a powerful instrument of India's maritime power. During Operation Sindoor, for instance, it drove the Pakistan Navy away without even firing a shot. But India also prides itself on being the first responder to any country in distress in the Indian Ocean region. It is, after all, the only ocean named after a country. Now, on the 28th of November, India launched Operation Sagar Bandhu to provide humanitarian assistance to cyclone-hit Sri Lanka. 6 warships, including the aircraft carrier INS Vikrant and the frigate INS Udaygiri, the amphibious ship INS Gharyal, and 3 landing craft utility delivered over 1,000 tons of relief material to the island nation. Now, the PLA Navy, in stark contrast, is the one to put its neighbors in distress. Over the last few years, the PLA Navy, along with the Chinese Coast Guard and maritime militia, have used grey zone activities to assert China's expansive maritime claims in the South China Sea, the East China Sea, and around Taiwan. Now, these tactics aim to intimidate neighbors, control disputed areas, and gradually alter the status quo without provoking full-scale war. That's why they're called grey zone tactics. Now, PLA warships have rammed or sideswiped vessels. They've used high-power water cannons. They've used radar lock-ons or laser illumination to harass ships and aircraft of neighboring countries. Now, how India and China respond to their neighbors have to do with their national policy. China very clearly uses its navy to bully its smaller and weaker neighbors. The PLA Navy is an instrument of coercion. It inspires dread in Japan, Taiwan, South Korea, and the Philippines. Now, India follows what it calls a neighborhood first policy. It has what is called a Sagar, or a security and growth for all in the region initiative. This Sagar initiative focuses on maritime security, anti-piracy operations, humanitarian assistance, disaster relief, what is called HADR, and diplomatic engagements. India wants to become what it calls the preferred security partner for neighbors in the Indian Ocean region. Now, the Indian Navy undertakes what it calls mission-based deployments to ensure persistent presence in critical areas like the Gulf of Aden, the Arabian Sea, the Red Sea, and across the Indo-Pacific. This one visual of something like 14 deployments across several thousand square kilometers of ocean in the Indo-Pacific in the month of November illustrates mission-based deployments. The Indian Navy has a persistent presence across its area of influence. Now, in recent years, the Indian Navy has stepped up its operational tempo in response to China's increased deployments in the Indian Ocean region. Now, Navy Chief Admiral Dinesh Tripathi recently highlighted the Navy's extensive deployments, emphasizing India's role as a preferred security partner in the IOR and Indo-Pacific. The Navy Chief also detailed the Navy's high operational tempo, including the deployment of 40 capital warships in critical areas like the Red Sea, the North Arabian Sea, over the past 7-8 months to counter threats from non-state actors like the Houthis, to protect the sea lanes of communication, and to ensure safe passage for commercial cargo worth nearly $5.6 billion. Now, the important thing to note is that all of this was rendered regardless of vessel flag or crew nationality. Now, sustained mission-based deployments enabled nearly 11,000 ship days at sea in the past year, along with 50,000 flying hours by naval aircraft. Now, the Indian Navy continues to operate across the Indo-Pacific, protecting critical sea lanes of communication and responding to incidents ranging from piracy to maritime emergencies without discrimination of crew nationality or vessel flag. Now, these deployments have reinforced India's presence as a credible and dependable maritime power in the region. Can the PLA Navy make a similar claim? China's maritime neighbors might have the answer to that.